Hello everyone, I'm Dr. Grubbly, here with the build update for the Zombomber in the Gauntlet. So I did rip on my Shadow Servant of Arakaali pconc build at the end of Act 4 against Dodra. So I said, okay, time to go ahead and start on the Zombomber. Unfortunately, I did not actually make it to the end of Act 4 to get the Decay gem, which was really the reason why I was running the Arakaali first, aside from just, stronger build to gear up and make the leveling with the Puppeteer faster. But here we are. So as of now, I am level 31. I started this last night and played for just under 4 hours. So got to the, where are we in Act 3? Midway? Okay. That's right, I think I just got the key last night, so I'm nearing the end of Act 3, which means that it is time to go into the garden, hit the trial. Actually, I don't even have to, because I already did that on the first character, but then I'm going to be grinding the labyrinth once I get more levels. I believe the labyrinth is level 33, and I'm only level 31 right now, and I have been feeling like my DPS is not up to snuff, some squishiness, but luckily the next node that I take will be up here. For the increased introduction to minion damage also affects me. That will greatly help my absolution DPS. I checked it on POB, which the numbers obviously don't match up on there versus here, but checked it on POB and it should about double my DPS, which will be very nice. And then we'll see. Hopefully I can farm Zaro without too much trouble and without ripping, and then I need to farm up the Falling Zombies gem itself. And I'm also going to farm up the Summon Raging Spirits of Gigantism. That's going to be my backup plan. I don't think Falling Zombies is going to be really, really strong. It's more, testing it out because I can during the event with the Puppeteer build. But I do want to have the SRS, Giant SRS as a backup. And I'll go over that once I get to that point. For now, I will put a link to the current POB for where I got the character, as well as, so let's see, this is the current POB. Like I said, I'm not sure why the DPS, like the life is showing low or higher here than it does in game. Not sure why. I literally just pulled it up before the video and didn't do anything on the character. And also, the tooltip DPS is actually higher than the POB. Although the DPS makes sense because that's set by, it's against a Guardian Pinnacle boss right now, so that's just what everybody uses as the standard numbers. So anyway, just to review what the character is doing, we'll go for this in-game. So we've got a passive tree looking like this, taking the minion and fizz damage nodes, some attack and cast speed because I am casting Absolution right now, a lot of life, some stats and skill cost. I do have to run 2 mana pots right now, or mana flasks right now, because I'm constantly running out of mana. I did take the increased max life as ahead of time prepping for the Zombies of Falling rather than Leech. And I just, I summon more minions if I need to. So sometimes minions are dying on, tougher content mobs or packs where they get surrounded, but then I just, some of them I haven't died yet. And I did take the increased effective offerings. I did notice that unfortunately this node doesn't actually give me a benefit for the Zombies Falling, because it only affects attack speed. So their attack speed affects me, but not their cast speed. So Zombies of Falling, in order to, the only benefit that I get from that is with cast speed. And even that actually isn't so important, so I switched up some other things in the build. And so I'm actually probably going to drop this and just take the mastery over here once I get to that point. Let me actually pivot. Sorry, I got sidetracked going through the plans. Let's go over first what the actual current is. I am running Clarity, Herald of Purity, and Conch Effect I was just leveling because it is an area damage gem. So it can help with some of the zombies or any of the other people that do slams. I should say not people, they're minions. The slams are AoEs, so it can help damage, and I think just right now, I'm not sure if the Herald of Purities actually have a slam. I think they do. Yeah, they have an area melee attack. They have single target melee and an area, so this would actually boost the damage on the melee. Clarity just for mana. I've got Desecrate for summoning as needed, Shield Charge of course, Flame Dash, and then I've got Absolution with Arcane Surge for the cast speed and minion damage support. Arcane Surge, sorry, not just the cast speed. Yes, cast speed when I get Arcane Surge, but also the mana regen, because like I said, I'm constantly running out of mana. And then my 4-link right now is Raise Zombie with minion damage, minion life, and Ruthless. The Ruthless is going to drop, and I'll swap things up once I get the Falling Minions gem, because then it's all about scaling the Chaos and Dot. Arctic Armor for freeze immunity, and also some less physical damage taken. And then Flesh Offering for increased minion attack, cast, move speed. And we got Holy Relic for some regen. Sometimes this thing dies, sometimes it's good and helpful, but either way, helps out. Alright, let's see what else. Character-wise, these are the actual stats. As of now, right this second, I've got like 1,000 life, 400 mana, 95 ES, but hopefully I'll scale that more later. I'm not worried about my chance to hit because I'm not attacking anymore, I'm just casting. Sorry, this is offenses. I want defenses. So I'm only up to 283 armor. I am trying to go for armor energy shield bases when I can, like when I'm gambling. So I'm aiming for armor because I will be scaling that later. So 43 fizz reduction right now on average, and 59 regen. And then all my reses are capped, and actually I've got like way too much lightning res. But that's cool. That's fine. It's not like I actually crafted lightning res on anywhere, so I can't actually even just switch it up. But I can easily replace this if I can get good mods on it to replace it. Do have a little bit of chaos res and 37% chance to block. So I think that's it for the current video. I changed up the plans a little bit for for falling zombies. My Zombombs only scale the life. So it's all about scaling the minion life, and I realized the cast speed won't be helpful, although I should say this is pending. I haven't actually gotten there, but cast speed allows me to drop more zombies. However, the caustic ground does not you can't overlap. Once there's one caustic ground in place over the mob, or I should say over the ground, any mob that goes over it will take damage, and more zombies hitting is not actually going to add to the DPS. So if you look here, it says the minion attacks by falling to the ground, causing an impact that deals damage in an area and kills the zombie. So I don't believe that the actual landing hit is the damage based on the life. So like their total life, let's say right here in POB, 16.5, and if we look at the falling slam, the hit DPS is only not even 1/10 of their life. So the caustic ground is supposed to be 30% of their life, so it should be much higher. So the falling slam, that's just like the slam if they were attacking. Slam I think is even just for regular zombie minions, which is why that looks so low. And default attack is a bit higher because I think that's like most zombies when they hit, and then some of the zombies do their slam attack. But the caustic ground is where the real DPS is because that's based on their life pool, and that's from the ascendancy. So scaling cast speed, because you cannot stack the ground degens, cast speed isn't actually going to be effective, and instead we're just looking at doing the damage over time faster for while they are on the ground, on the degen ground. So that's Swift Affliction, more chaos over time. I did put quality on these 3 gems because it does add to the DPS, and I will farm that because I'm expecting DPS to be a problem. Like, this is my plan for Kitava if I push myself to 81 before trying to take down Act 10 Kitava. So if I'm doing that, I'm for sure going to farm Lab 3 and get the quality on these gems for that extra DPS. Over here, I don't even remember what quality does on this, but it's apparently not impactful to the DPS. Well, let's check real quick. Raise zombies of falling, and quality gives chance to deal double damage. So again, that's an example of something that you would think is good, but it doesn't actually matter because they're not dealing damage with the hit. It's them dying that's causing it. So this doesn't actually help. On a related note to that, I looked in the POB and under calculations. So I went over to the raised zombie of falling and looked at the caustic ground, and I noticed actually like the crit is 0%. They don't even have any percent to crit. So nothing related to crits would help. And again, we're only scaling the life. So this is all I actually added in. I have haste in here, but that just shows like cast per second. That's just going to be convenience. So like I don't have MS Paint up, but like it really kind of depends on the size of the ground degen. I am specifically not taking conc effect because even though it would be 39% more damage as opposed to this 34 for void manip, the problem is that conc effect reduces the area of effect, which means that the mobs are going to be on the chaos ground a shorter period, so they'll take damage shorter. They'll just walk off of it unless I'm standing right there and keep them there. So I'm staying away from conc effect, and I'll either need to push the AoE bigger somehow, or just, let's say the mob is right here, and if I can get more of this area, then if I need to kite them around a little bit, they'll stay on the degen. So I'm just not sure how the cast speed will work out with that. That I won't know until I actually get to test it tonight. Hopefully tonight, depending how long it takes me to actually drop the gem, and assuming I don't rip. So that's number one. So it's all about the life and minion damage mods, because that does, I believe, yeah, the degen is from their life, so I believe that is scaled by minion damage. So going over to the tree, and I'm assuming I will only have a 4 link. If I do get a 5 link, I wouldn't do conc effect. As I'm farming lab 3, if I'm lucky and I get an empower, I would probably spend the time to farm up the gem experience in there to push it at least level 2 for +1 gems, because +1 helps with their life. Otherwise, I think Templar gets decay at the end of Act 4, and at that point I would be able to do it. But as you can see, this is +2. So if we check, let's do here. So it's at 25.9 up to 30.5. So from 20, what do we say? Here we go. So 26 to 30.5. So that's what, like 20% DPS? Yeah, it's about 20% DPS from one level on the gem, or it's with all the other gems too. Versus we're at 20.9, and then we look at decay. Decay is 24.6. So rather than having to farm a gem and then farm lab repeatedly to get it to level 2, because there's no guarantee I would get Empower anyway, I would just go for decay at the end of Act 4 if I got a 5 link. But I'm not planning on that. So the tree changed because of that. Previously I was taking the mana wheel over here in order to go for the buffs to Arcane Surge for the cast speed, but since now I've determined that that won't be necessary or helpful, I moved it up here to save a point on the mana reservation. Other than that, I did put 5 points here to get increased effective withered and the mastery for chance to inflict 15 stacks. This is because they're taking cast damage, so I really want wither on them. I'm not sure how I'll be applying wither yet. The easy button would be just doing withering step and having it intermittently for a small stack, but someone was recommending that I do, I believe it's I think it's a combination of totem and mines with wither or something like that. I'll have to look and see what that is, but I'll update the build about that once I get to that point, as long as I don't rip. But yeah, the goal would be just apply as many stacks of wither as possible, because while they're on the ground degen, that's just going to push the DPS up much higher. So here I did take the offense mastery for 30% increased AoE, because I want that for the ground degen so that they stay on it longer. We got the mastery here for the chaos bypass by, 30% of chaos not bypassing ES. Still having life over here. I think not much else changed. I did take the block wheel over here and chance to block attack damage per 5% on the shield. I did add in the spell block, or the block mastery for, what does this give? I think it's 3, 7, and then 10. So this is 17% spell block, plus 3 max spell blocks from ES recovery, but more importantly, plus chance to spell block per 5% chance to block attack damage. And so I'll be focusing that block attack damage. I might consider going down here. You get 7% spell block and attack block over here, but I've already got that mastery up top, so I'm not sure it's worth it. Otherwise, this is spell block still. So that's one thing. Let's see, I've still got these nodes all the same. Effective offering, like I mentioned. As I mentioned before, attack speed does not help, and this is only for attack speed from the minions, not for cast speed. So I dropped this. One way I would consider this is if I did something like Lancing Steel of Spraying for applying Withered on hit, and try to do that with like returning projectiles just to get in a ton of hits and easily do the Withered. But I don't know if that'll work out well. I'm using, what am I using in my hand? So on my actual character right now, I'm using a wand. So I mean, it is 1.5 attacks per second at base. So with the attack speed multiplier from the zombies, that could be viable. I have to see. It would mean farming up another gem. I think Lancing Steel is green, and that would be the only green gem. So I'd have to, right now I'm looking at farming 2 blue gems, which is Zombies of Falling and SRS of Gigantism or Enormity, whatever it's called. So then I would have to also farm a green gem to try and get Lancing Steel of Spraying. So that's just a lot more time in lab jail, which is fun for a while, but not forever. So we got the max life over here because we want to push the minion life. I did leave this chaos wheel here because the modifiers at the end of the campaign, I do believe, have the percent fizz as chaos. I could be wrong, I'll have to double check on that, but if it does not have that, then I can drop these 4 points and just have the chaos res on gear. But getting an extra 30% chaos res and reduced effective curses over here is pretty nice. Helps with the defenses some. The curses I don't think I'd really come up against much by the end of the campaign. It would more be for maps, but the 30% chaos res would be helpful in terms of gearing. It's just I doubt it would be worth 4 passives to get that. Yeah, so I think that's the only actual changes from the previous POB. If there's any questions, as always, leave them in the comments below or come hang out on Twitch or in Discord. And I'm going to go start farming this guy up and getting it running, try and get the zombies falling and start playing the actual build. I will update you guys on the next video. Thanks. Take care.